Hey, hey, LG. What's up, LG? Good to see everybody. It's good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Saturday night in Australia, apparently, it is Friday night here. LG, good to see you. What's going on, my beautiful people? This is Certified Life and Relationship Coach, Coach Court. In today's video, we're going to address the issue about dismissive avoidant men suddenly leaving. And there are a couple reasons as to why, what I've seen from people that I've worked with, why a dismissive avoidant will suddenly leave. And there's certain conditions, whether it was someone that was tumultuous in their relationship, whether you were an anxious person, or whether you were someone who showed up healthy. But I'm going to wait before I get to that. If you want my help personally, reach out to me on my website. It's www.fruitfulseeds.com. Send me an email. I try to get around to each and every email. I stopped the email coaching because it just got overwhelming, and there was so many responses, so many people who were sending really long emails. And if I remember correctly, if you guys have been with me for a long time, you guys know that when I ask you guys to leave me an email, I try to ask you to keep it very short and brief. But honestly, the reason I discontinued it because I realized that is not a productive way to get across, the coaching that I want to get across, and it's not really useful. I'm just going to be honest. The value that I bring to you guys over email is the reason that I decided to discontinue it. Now, will I reopen it? Maybe, because I know that the dollar is not going very far these days, and it's pretty tough. So I appreciate you guys for always being here, always supporting me. We just celebrated. I set a goal back in January to reach 1 million people over 2022, and today it just happened. So 1 million views, 1 million unique viewers. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Thank you so very much. Thank you for so very much. So I wanted to do this video for you as a kind of a thank you for everyone. Sorry, I thought it was Sunday. Yeah, it's Friday night here in the US. So what's up, people? I got some notes here that I took for you guys. I have a email that I received from someone, and it's pretty common. So this is the reason I want to pick this email and this title or this topic tonight, because it is it's one that I get all the time, right? And it's something that's pretty common when you're dealing with someone who has a dismissive avoidant attachment style, and sometimes a fearful avoidant, where I say that most of the time when you do see this happen, if you were someone who showed up secure, you weren't anxious, you weren't overwhelming, I say you flew too close to the sun and you got your wings clipped. You actually did everything right, and that scared them, right? That scared them because they're not used to it. If you go all the way back to their childhood, this is the conditioning that they're not used to seeing. There are the type of dynamics that they're not used to seeing. So they always sleep with one eye open, or their spidey senses are always tingling. And that's the reason why they usually leave. But I'm not going to get all the way into that. Let's get the likes up real quick. I'm going to check and see if you guys are helping me out. Boost the analytics. Get people in here. The more people we have talking and communicating, because this is a community. This is a community that has built over 16,000 people. And if we got 16,000 people, you guys should be asking questions, helping other people out. All right. So I'm going to wait a second. All right. So there's 22 people in here. If we can get the likes to 10, 5, I don't know if this thing may be moving a little bit slow for me, but let's keep boosting. Boost the analytics for me. And then I'll get to this email. Actually, it was pretty nice. She actually kept it really short, and I guess she has been watching my content, which is good. really, when people book sessions with me, I tell them a lot of the stuff that I tell you guys is actually in the content. It's in this 400 video library that I created for you guys. And a lot of people think that their situation is unique, and sometimes it is. I've heard some whoppers. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've heard some whoppers before, and I was scratching my head. It's like I can't put myself in that person's shoes, so I don't really understand what's going on with them. But we usually end up working it out. All right, you know what? 7 minutes in, we're gonna go ahead and get to it. Thank you guys for being here. And the email says, hey coach, thanks in advance for answering this question. There aren't a lot of people who talk about attachment styles on YouTube, especially men, especially black men. I don't think that was kind of cool that she wrote that. Thank you for the content. Long story short, I was seeing a guy for 8 months. We met each other's family. It seemed really healthy, and all of a sudden he felt like he was being smothered. And then he backed away, said he doesn't want to be with me anymore. Can you help me with this? Because I'm really confused at what the blank happened. All right. So that kind of goes with more of the former I talked about before. When they pull away and things were actually healthy, so you weren't someone who were actually a little overbearing, you demanded too much, you were anxious, then most likely you did everything right. And it felt uncomfortable because they knew that they couldn't match your energy. And in the beginning, they usually pursued a relationship. After the breakup, this is what usually happens with them. They go into relief, and when it's a healthy dynamic, they go into relief, and what they do is they actually start texting you like nothing happened. If anything, they may have started to pull away, and then once they break up with you, or they say, this isn't working out, they actually start texting you more. They start texting you little funny things. They start sharing some of their day with you, and you're confused. You're like, you just broke up with me. How in the world are you going to keep showing up like nothing happened? Thank you. Appreciate that. Happy New Year. And it's because that's when they start to feel safe, right? They start to feel like, okay, this is a safe dynamic to go back into because there's no pressure. And it feels like this is kind of more a friendship, but they start doing some of the, I've seen where they start to do some of the relationship things, saying, hey, let's get together. Let's watch this show. Let's do this and that. And for you, you're confused. And this is when I get a lot of clients reach out to me and they say, what do I do? How do I navigate this? And I say, well, we have to really figure out what this person's intentions is. Do they really want to end this relationship, or were they just feeling so overwhelmed or feeling triggered into their dismissiveness? Because in the beginning, like I said, they do show up as someone who kind of comes off as secure. They text you on a regular. They really do the things that what we coaches call make it look like they're showing up. They're showing up for you, because when people aren't showing up for you, it's pretty much a done deal. It's a cut and dry case. It's like, well, if they're not showing up, then what are you doing? There's really no reason to even try to continue this, but there's nothing there. So if they're showing up in the beginning, which actually I did a YouTube short today that talks about 2 to 3 months. And that's pretty much what you really see when a person starts to pull away. They want the relationship. Let's say that they come from another relationship or they've been single for a while. And after about 2 or 3 months, you start to see them start to get a little bit antsy, start to really question whether or not this is a dynamic form. And that's when you start to see the pull away happen. This person here in particular, it was 8 months. And I thought this was a good email to actually follow up on when I got here in my notes. So my notes here, I'm going more towards the latter, towards how we're going to heal from this whole dynamic. Because me personally, I feel like this breakup, this person that you were dating actually did you a favor. They actually awakened you, something in you that you didn't know was there. Because I hear so many times where people say, Coach, I was like this secure person. I was dating a bunch of women, or women that show up and say, look, I wasn't even really attracted to this guy. And all of a sudden he broke over me, and then I panicked. I really started to become insecure, and my anxious, preoccupied side started to increase. I got triggered. So this was actually a gift, because most people don't know that part's in them. And there's a lot of dismissive people that just kind of skate through life. And here's the thing about dismissive avoidant people, right? The way that they show up, that because some people think that they just act aloof, and they it's like they operate unconscious. They go on autopilot. It's not on purpose. They don't know they're doing it. They just don't understand that this mindfulness, when you have to be present with a person, is actually a healthy thing. It's actually something that's a natural response with someone who has a secure attachment style. And that's all the notes I got. I actually kept it pretty short. Like Coach Court in fashion, I didn't write a whole lot of stuff down. I'm used to doing 5-minute videos because I really like to let you guys move on with the rest of your life. But I'm going to answer all this stuff here. All right. Happy New Year. Australia, not only DA boyfriend, but also this is a real quick Q&A session here, right? Not only DA boyfriend, but also a normal friend suddenly goes no response mode. Yeah, it happens in friendships too. This isn't the only one. Not only the dynamic that this happens. Happy New Year, Marissa. It's good to see you. All the way, Marissa's in California, right? Cali. I wish I was in Cali right now. Actually, the weather was pretty good, but negative 28 the other day. Wind chill. Accurate. My DAX did some after he broke up, texting with me. Tension built into the relationship when I asked for understanding of commitment. He broke it off, then lots of texts for months. Yeah. Go figure. And it's confusing because when a person breaks up with you, you think there's really no reason for us to even communicate. Why talk? There's really no point. But for them, it's almost like a relief. So there's two ways that they go, right? There's two ways that dismissive go. They either, if it was a unhealthy dynamic, they'll go cold. If you were someone who was really anxious and you pushed them you push the envelope. Let's just be honest. You push the envelope, they'll go ghost and they'll go cold. They don't want to talk to you. But if you were someone who was actually healthy, they don't want to lose that friendship. They don't want to lose that. I talk about in my old videos, one of the things that dismissive avoidant people need the most is support. They don't want to miss the support, the connection that you guys had. But they also don't want the pressure of having to have these expectations that are in relationship. So that's usually how it goes. Do you think it's worth it to confront them directly and ask what they want after the breakup in response to all of their texts? So everyone's different. I think the people who are more anxious, it's really doing you a disservice to try to continue this conversation because it's fake. Like, let's be honest. You really think that this is going to lead somewhere. And if you're that type of person where you can't just maintain a friendship after, then just cut it off. Say, look, I don't think this is good. We broke up. This isn't a good time for me. I'm actually not really feeling this friendship that we're having right now. Later on down the line, if we can be friends, I really want to keep that. If that's something you want to do, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. If that's something that you want to do, which most anxious, preoccupied people don't, like, they pretty much move on. They find someone else and they're all about that person. Then you can do that. But make sure that you are still maintaining your boundaries, because guess what? In the relationship, if you are someone who was very anxious, you didn't maintain your boundaries very well anyway. So this is a great time to assert yourself and advocate for yourself. Do you think it's worth it to confront? All right, we already asked. The FA acquaintance is going through divorce. We agree not our time, so we date others and talk as friends. What does it look like to be friends when it's the right person, wrong time, specifics? Appreciate it. So if it's the, I don't know about that quote. I don't really like it, to be honest. Right person, wrong time. I think it is a way to justify things when it should actually just not, it's just not the right person, period. Because not everyone are going to reach the certain, I guess, milestone in their journey at the same time. That's just the wrong person, right? So you can be a 40-year-old man and talking to a 20-year-old girl, and you're like, all right, this isn't the right person, the wrong time. Nah, not really, because she's going to think everything like, oh, I just love how mature he is and this and that. It's like, that's not really the right person, wrong time. It's just, if anything, it's creepy, but it's just not. Yeah, no, it's not meant to be. Trauma, this is what I learned. Trauma really regresses us, all right? Trauma stops us in a place. It freezes us in a moment in life where I actually had a therapist tell me this. It freezes you in a state where the trauma happened, the major trauma happened. And this is, so when you dealing with someone who's more dismissive, and I don't want to sound offensive or anything, but if they had some, or fearful even, if they had some major trauma happen to them at the age of 15, when you have these major conflicts at the age of 35, they may regress to a 15-year-old with dealing with that trauma, with dealing with that issue, because they are when their fight or flight mode activates, they kind of regress, right? If that makes any sense. And that's what I learned from a therapist friend of mine. Why are DA attracted to AP? We can talk all night about that one. Usually it's because it feels familiar. When I'm gonna be honest here, DA men come off as the bad boys, right? DA men that come off as the bad boys, and anxious, preoccupied women like the bad boys. It's very, I don't know if you can call it, I don't know if you can say that on YouTube right now because they will get you in trouble. It's very masculine and very dominant energy because they look like they just don't really care. And that's attractive to some women, actually a lot of women. But for AP women, no, AP men and DA women, it looks more like a challenge. It's something that they have to achieve, because men are pretty much goal oriented. We like to conquer. We like to, set goals. And for someone who's a DA woman, it looks like, oh, well, I got to do more to make this thing work. That makes sense. Do you think people with NPD or high narc traits? Ooh-wee. All right, we're going into the narcissism realm. Have more anxious or avoidant attachment style. What have you seen? Well, I don't know if I can mention her name on this channel, but there's look up the number one trauma or the number one narcissistic expert in the US. She talks a lot about the anxious, preoccupied person being the closest to the narcissist. But from my experience, I've seen people who have more fearful avoidant attachment as coming across as more narcissist. It's really not narcissism. It's more like fear. But the hot and coldness and the, I guess, almost ADHD attention span, where after about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they're just kind of like, this isn't working for me anymore. This isn't really fun for me anymore. It's not real. It's not. And I think it's more of a trauma response. Trust me, I already got in trouble for talking about FAs 2 years ago, but now I've coached so many fearful avoidant women. They're like my favorite people because they have these personalities and this this aggressiveness with personal development, and they're just really cool people. I'm gonna just be straight up. They're really cool people. I like fearful avoidant people. Um, but they're not narcissists because they can kind of come off as that. They're not narcissists because they can feel. They have empathy. And actually, I actually follow someone on Instagram. She is pretty cool. She talks a lot about her journey as someone who's been diagnosed with NPD, and honestly, a lot of it is rooted in trauma and some of the things that they've learned, some of the survival techniques that they had to pick up by having narcissistic parents or parents with BPD. They had to survive, and they kind of took those survival. They numbed themselves to certain traumas and certain unhealthy dynamics where they felt like this is just kind of how life is, and I have to go and get mine. I have to do what's best for me. So hope that answered your question. Why are DA attractive? Do you think people with NPD? I'm trying. I should probably be scrolling up as I'm doing this. My DA appeared for 15 days, and then he responded to me coldly and broke up with me without reason. He blocked me. Well, he probably blocked you because he felt guilty. Um, DAs don't not have a soul. Don't not. That's a double negative. Don't not have a soul. They do have a soul, and most likely he just didn't want to see you anymore because of the pain that he was feeling or he was trying to repress. Right. Be sure if he returns after the breakup, she discussed her to set her boundaries. Absolutely. When they come back, if you guys do decide to reconcile with someone who's dismissive, um, timing is important. You don't want to lead, and if you guys are building a rapport again, you don't want to lead right away with that. But I guess it's a case by case scenario. If you've been in a on and off situation with an avoidant for 10 years, which I've had people who've been in it for 10 years, then that when you reach out to me, I'm going to tell you that we need to set a certain, if they try to get back with you and make this thing work out healthy in a healthy manner, you need to set what's not going to happen in stone. Like, all right, this is what we ain't going to do. We're not going to do this time. All right. It's not going down this way. But if you were someone that was seeing a person for 6 months and you kind of had your on and again, off again, start there, get back into their good graces. And I'm not trying to tell you to be manipulative or anything. It's just pick the time that you bring up the issues wisely. When you guys have reconnected, when you guys have formed a rapport again, then talk about, you remember back 3 months ago when we broke up and or whatever. You'll know how to go with the flow on this one, but say, I just didn't really like that. Just so we're gonna have to do things differently this time, right? Thank you so much for responding. I decided to block and heal. Boundaries are important. Just here to support. Nice coat. Thanks, brother. Trauma acts like a save file. You can't choose when it loads. Wow. That's pretty powerful. Dr. Ramani. I just said it. Thanks a lot. do a DAX come back again and again? Most of the time I see more fearful avoidant people coming back again and again because they keep reactivating. They don't really want to be broken up. Totally, and FA seems more borderline. Yeah, I've seen connections with FA and border and BPD for sure. Flip flop, back in black and white, splitting trauma response. Someone's been doing their homework on attachment styles. FA is also very deep, sensitive, empathetic. It's just what I mean. Like they're very into spirituality, crystal work, Reiki, all those different things. And they are very deep. They're anxious and have some deactivating strategies as a DA to survive. Like you said, I can't even say your name. Ananya? I guess. Or is that like a fake made up? Ananya as anonymous. All right. It's good to see you guys. Happy New Year. Appreciate each and every one of you. Um, thank you for liking. If you guys don't have anything else, I think I'm going to bow out of this live session tonight. I still only have 11 likes. That kind of hurts my feelings there. You know, boost it up, boost analytics, help me out. It's one thing that you can do. Anonymous. I knew it was. I like your healing videos. Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the affirmations, or are you talking about just how to heal after breakups? Because I can do more of those. I like heart. All right, I'll give you guys the benefit of the doubt. But once this live session ends, you can go and you can like this video. I'll see. All right, Buzzy B coming in late. All right, any thoughts if a 3-year relationships end, will they come back? That is so. I get that you're trying to be short and concise, but there's so many dynamics there. Was it an unhealthy dynamic? Did they come from a background where relationships didn't work, marriages didn't work out? Was it an on and off again relationship? Did they get into a rebound relationship? At some point, people realize, and I don't care who you are. I don't care if you was the person that broke up. I don't care if you were the dumper or the dumpee. At some point, you realize that this isn't going to be a relationship that is for you. It doesn't. There's something that happens that at that moment you realize this isn't going to be the person that I marry or the person that I go till death do us part with. Like, you know, don't play me. I know, like I've seen it too many times where they say, Coach, I was going to break up with her, or I was going to break up with him because there were certain things I didn't really like about his family or about this or that, or we tried to move in together and he didn't do this, but I'm not going to go there. You know, at 3-year mark, I will be having other questions like, why didn't you propose? Why didn't you try to make this relationship go to the next level? Because you're probably seeing some red flags there. And if you're already avoiding person, then you're probably an avoiding person and you probably should deal with that. Because why do you want to waste people's time? Time is the most valuable resource you can ever have. You will never get it back. There's no instant rebate. There's no mail-in rebate. Once it's gone, it's gone. So I would ask you, what is it about yourself that didn't, if you are the man, I don't know if you're the man or the woman, because women, they are trying to, a lot of women are proposing to men these days, but if you are the man, why didn't you propose? Around the two-year mark or whenever. Okay, he wasn't committing. Well, all right, you're the woman. All right, I can't really tell because it's got the Buzzy B. He was married once. All right, so usually when divorce really does some things. If the man didn't do the work, the healing work, the processing as to why the relationship ended, why the marriage ended, they can become more avoidant then. Seen that more often too. Please do more videos on self-esteem, abandonment. So we're going into the realm of therapy here, and I'm just a measly old coach, right? Just kidding. I study a lot, so whatever I learned about myself, I pass those same resources on to you guys. How to create boundaries. We got a lot here. Send me a message, Priscilla. I know we've talked before on Instagram. Send me a message and let me know some good video topics. What does the holiday text mean from an FA or DA? Oh, that means that their feelings were bubbling back to the surface again. It could be a good thing, or it could be just nothing. I mean, think about it. If you have someone that's really trying to repress something, and then all of a sudden the Snapchat memories pop back up, and the Facebook memories pop back up on this day last year, I mean, that's one little nudge to say, oh, you should probably text and see how that person's doing, or they're going to be telling you happy holidays or something, or tell them happy holidays. And because if you are dealing with someone who's more DA, they don't hate you. They really don't. They're just essentially scared to take it to the next level, to lose their independence, to lose their autonomy, to essentially lose the way that they've been living for a really long time. And I don't know how old you are, but majority of the people who watch my videos are between the age of 25 and 44. So if you're up there in the 40s, you know, they've been through some things. And we've all been through things. So is it necessary for a DA to heal in order to make the relationship work? Yes. Short answer, yes. They can't will themselves out of their automatic responses, their subconscious programming. They can't just will themselves out of it. It may work temporarily, but long term, they're going to have to really do some uprooting of some of the programming that they've had done. Subconscious things that they didn't even realize was happening. They could be on the corner on the couch watching cartoons, eating cereal, and hear some things going on in the background that turn them, you know, the way that they are. Now, this is what I love about what I do too. Is I've listened to so many stories, I've seen so many journeys that I really feel blessed to have this career and also to have this community. So I'm glad I can share it with you guys. I'm an AFA and admittedly miss my exes during anniversaries. This is anonymous here. I don't text them, but have been tempted to. But no, realistically, I can't reconcile with those exes. Hope this helps. For everyone who's out there who's FA or who are interested about, should I do more FA content? And I get a lot of, so this is what I see most often coming through my door, right? I see anxious, preoccupied women, anxious, preoccupied men, FA women, and yeah, I think that's it. Those, if they make up about 70-80% of the people that I work with. I get DA men and DA women ever so often, but it's only when they get to the point where they feel like I'm tired of this dynamic, or if I'm being totally transparent, the DA men that I see come through are the men whose girls have left and gotten into a rebound relationship, and they're wondering what happened. They're kind of confused. They thought they were showing up, but then once we go through and we process things and we talk about the dynamics of the relationship, that's when they realize that they really weren't showing up. So I'll end it for real this time. Your DAAP content is spot on.